Welcome back, students. So today I will discuss the factor affecting photosynthesis. Means what are the probable factors which are affect the rate of photosynthesis. The first, that is the light intensity. See students, so we know that, and we have already we have carried out one test, that is the iodine test over the starch. So that time light is the most important factor. So here is also, so in case of the light intensity is not so much sufficient, so that time, so it will direct effect on the preparations of the photosynthesis. Okay, so the light intensity in the case of photosynthesis increases with the increase in the light intensity and up to a certain point. So the minimum amount of light which is must needed for the photosynthesis process. Second point, that is availability of the carbon dioxide. So as we know that, so carbon dioxide is the another important conditions for the photosynthesis. If the carbon dioxide is not so much sufficient, so that time the photosynthesis will not occur very precisely. So that time carbon dioxide, that means, is needed or sufficient amount. So this photosynthesis process increases with the increase in the carbon dioxide concentration. Means if the carbon dioxide concentration is increases, that means the photosynthesis process is also increases. The third point, that is temperature. So temperature is the another point. Means up to a certain temperature value, rate of photosynthesis increases with the increase in temperature, and this value ranges generally between the 20 to 35 degrees Celsius. Means if the temperature in between 20 to 35 degrees Celsius, that time the photosynthesis process will increases. The fourth point, that is availability of the water. So we know that stomata is working in this purpose. Stomata is opening in the daytime and it will close at the night time. So the less availability of the water reduces the photosynthesis through the closure of the stomata. Fifth point, that is chlorophyll. So if the chlorophyll is the so much important in case of photosynthesis, because the pigment chlorophyll is not present, that time the starch will not formed. These are the very important point. The above mentioned point is also very important, but chlorophyll is much more needed. If the chlorophyll is not there, the photosynthesis will not happen, and the photosynthesis will not happen, that time the food will not prepare, that means starch will not produce. That means chlorophyll in case of photosynthesis requires the pigment chlorophyll. Without the chlorophyll, photosynthesis does not take place. Okay. The sixth point, that is the inorganic mineral ions. See students, plants needed some inorganic minerals ions, okay, in the form of micro and the macronutrients. Means it needed some points, or you can say that some nutrients, those are very important or essentials, and some of the nutrients which are not so much important for plant. So we'll discuss, okay, later on. So see, inorganic minerals in case of dehydrated green plant. Actually, what is dehydrated? Dehydrated means where a plant from which all the water has been removed is called the dehydrated green plant. Consists of four elements, that is carbon dioxide, or you can say that then carbon, not in properly carbon dioxide, basically in the form of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and the nitrogen. And this element consists of 96% of total plant's dry weight combined together in the form of organic compounds like proteins, carbohydrates and fat. That means this hydrogen, oxygen and the nitrogen is required for the preparations of the protein, carbohydrates as well as the fat. That means these are the very essential element. And remaining 4% of the green plant dry weight consists of the following chemical elements, inorganic compounds, or you can say that the inorganic element like sulfur, phosphorus, calcium, iron, magnesium, potassium, chlorine, aluminum, boron, manganese, copper, zinc and the chlorine. So whenever this 4%, that means this kind of inorganic elements also needed for the plant. Some of the elements like aluminum, boron, manganese, copper, zinc and chlorine is also needed. These elements are obtained from the soil water taken up through the root system as ions. Means we know that the cell sap system in the form of ascent of shape, that time the minerals has been carried forward to the plants, and each of the inorganic ions have the different functions in the process of the photosynthesis. Some of the elements are required in the higher amounts or higher quantities called the macronutrients. Means whatever the elements we have discussed so far, that is the 96% and the 4%, so all the above elements, some of the elements are very vital for plant, are called the macronutrients, and some of the elements are called the micronutrients like copper, zinc, boron, manganese and molybdenum. So copper, zinc and boron, manganese and the molybdenum are called the micronutrients, and carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, calcium, iron and magnesium, these are the macronutrients. Why this is much important? Because if the absence of this nutrient, some of the deficiency disease also happen in case of plants like animals. Okay, so that is the most important thing. So one box is also there, that is the key ideas, that means the significance of the photosynthesis. So this part I will discuss later on. So before going to this topic, I will discuss some deficiency diseases of some nutrients in plants for exam point of view as well as your competitive exam. So this part is very important. So what are the nutrients much more important for the deficiency diseases? So nutrients like nitrogen, calcium, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, so these are the very essential nutrients for the plant. So without these nutrients, some of the deficiency disease may cause in plants. So like nitrogen is a nutrient, if the availability of the nitrogen is less, that time the chlorosis disease may be happened. So what is chlorosis disease? Chlorosis disease means the leaves color turns into yellow from green. Okay. Number 2, that is calcium. So calciums, if the nutrients like calcium is absent, that time the abnormal leaf shape is found. In case of iron, the chlorosis of the young leaves is happen, means the plant is very young, that time if the unavailability of the nutrient iron, that time again the chlorosis type disease may happen. In case of magnesium, again the chlorosis of older leaves will happen, that means nitrogen, iron and the magnesium is responsible for the chlorosis disease. Nitrogen is basically for the chlorosis disease is sometimes happen the color of the leaves turn into yellow from the green, and like iron and the magnesium, like the in case of iron, this chlorosis disease may happen in young leaves, and the magnesiums, in the absence of this magnesium, chlorosis of older leaves is happen. In case of phosphorus, the poor plant growth is also happened. So these are the deficiency disease of some nutrients in plants. Okay, thank you.